Hey everybody, this is HD.
And this is Pain User.
Hey, we're back for the IPL. This is actually going to be a new series of games, and once again, the first game of each series in this tournament, which is hosted by IGN, will be going up on our YouTube channels. The rest can be found on IGN.com/IPL. $5,000 of prize pool money up for grabs. This is the round of 16, best of 3, and it is actually ViBE versus SeleCT. It's going to be a Terran versus Zerg, and first map is Zelnaga Caverns. Take it away, Pain User.
Yeah, we have Dignitas SeleCT versus sixjaxViBE on Zelnaga Caverns, and I feel like this is a great map for SeleCT. I love this map, Terran versus Zerg. It's very easy to segment the map into portions, take that quick gold. Once you have that gold secured, you can just work from there. That's kind of your anchor point on the map. You can work to the left, work to the right, deny Zerg expansions. It's just a great map in general, and it's especially good for Terran versus Zerg because of that forward gold position. You can turn that into a PF, and it just becomes your stronghold, your staging point for every attack.
For all you guys who are wondering what Pain User is talking about, my co-caster, this is the staging point. This is the critical area of success for every Terran player against Zerg. When you PF this location, by PF I mean Planetary Fortress, the upgrade to the command center, the Terran player becomes darn near unstoppable. It's very difficult to deal with a 3-base Terran once they have that Planetary Fortress up. And opening up with this game, it looks like SeleCT will be going with some 2 racks here, which is 2 barracks is a very actually standard opening. You apply some early aggression, and the cute thing about this here, Pain User, is you do some damage. You don't actually need to commit. You force a Zerg player to produce attacking units rather than overdrone.
Yeah, you do deny those crucial early drones, and sometimes a lesser experienced Zerg player will build way too many Zerglings, but
I know I've done that many times.
Yeah, for sure. ViBE is a really good player. He will probably build just enough Lings to deal with it, maybe a Spine Crawler, maybe an extra Queen, but either way, it's not a bad opener from the Terran. It's not like SeleCT is necessarily going to be behind if he doesn't do a lot of damage with his 2 racks, and at the end of the day, you still have 2 racks, you can expand behind it, bunker up your natural. Although I feel like 2 racks expanding on this map is particularly dangerous just because you're really open to a Baneling all-in after you expand. So if you 2 racks and it fails and you go straight into an expansion, on this map in particular, just because the natural is so wide and you can't wall it off with your raxes, it really opens you up to like a July Zerg style aggressive Baneling bust. If you don't know, July Zerg is
the God of War.
He is
one
Korea.
Of the best Brood War players of all time and a very good StarCraft 2 Zerg player. And hey, look at this. We have SeleCT coming in here with a little bit of bunker harass, and this is a good way to go with your 2 racks. You send a bunch of Marines and you try to do some damage. ViBE picks off the Marine with the army of drones, and he may actually be able to pick off the rest of the Marines here. Loses 1 drone, loses a 2nd drone. Nice micro by SeleCT, killing off another drone and whittling down that drone count. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Pain User. As a Terran player, you do early damage. You don't need to commit. You just do damage, and eventually you can fall back.
Yeah, absolutely. He's already killed 4 drones at this point, and he's microing his Marines with those SCVs so well, using that gap in between the natural and the ramp as a back wall to his Marines, using the SCVs on the other side as linebackers to just tank the hits from the Zerglings.
Yeah.
Great job microing right there by SeleCT, and he's able to pick off 4 drones before he falls back, and it looks like SeleCT is going to build a bunker at his natural. No, he just has Marines right now. He's going to build a supply depot, and he is building a command center over there on the low ground.
Interesting, like he would put the command center out here and exposed. You were talking earlier about Pain User about this map is very vulnerable if you go for 2 racks expo, because you just don't have enough buildings to kind of create the wall early on. So by building this command center here, this leaves you very vulnerable if ViBE decides to make some kind of an attack happen. I just want to let you guys all out there know that Pain User is a very good Terran player himself. He's one of the best Terran players in the world, and I'm a Zerg player, so you're gonna have a little bit of a biased cast here going on.
Well, yeah, if I was in ViBE's shoes, I would absolutely 100% drop a Baneling nest and do a really aggressive eco Baneling bust. It's not necessarily all in, and you're pretty much guaranteed to do a considerable amount of damage, but it looks like SeleCT is gonna try and sneak up into the main right here, but ViBE doing a great job with his lings.
Nice spine crawler placement.
Yeah, great spine crawler placement, and just delaying with his lings, picking off those Marines, and Select losing his first group of Marines and doing virtually no damage. I think that's great for ViBE. Puts him in a really comfortable situation to just drone up from here to Kingdom Come, and it's going to be a while before Select pushes again. Yeah,
I mean, if you look at Select's base right now, Pain User, he just doesn't have any. I don't think he has a single Marine. There we go. There's a Marine, and he has a couple in the bunker, obviously. He's going to have to recuperate and rebuild his army. He cannot move out right now. He's purely in a defensive fashion. And ViBE is going to capitalize on that, man. He knows he's got map control. He's going to go across the map with these Zerglings. He's going to see what he can do. And he checks out the mineral line and realizes, hey, there's not even that many SCVs there. I'm just going to go over through this secret hallway and maybe come back for a little poke later.
This is John's common knowledge hallway. They've named the two different hallways, north and south, after two completely different things. I don't know why, but top one is the tasteless secret hallway. Bottom one is John's common knowledge hallway. I like John's common hallway better because
I bet ViBE likes it better too.
John is the man, and yeah, ViBE's obviously using it to his advantage. ViBE doing a great job spreading his creep. He already has two different avenues going. He has overlords positioned around his base, just in case of drops in the later stages of the game. He will be prepared for that, and he is droning up. He is at 35 right now. Probably going to continue to drone up, and he's probably going to take a third relatively soon here.
I think so. I think he's going to go for the gold rocks here. This is a nice transition for the Zerg, grabbing the early gold expansion, and likewise for ViBE, eventually he's going to grab his own gold. And we were talking earlier about this gold expo being such an important area for the Terran players. So look for Select to eventually grab that once he feels comfortable. And we actually see him transitioning here into Marine Hellion with blue flames. And this is a potent combination, man. I know, as a Zerg player, when I see Marines and Hellions combined together, and especially once I see a blue thing coming out of the Hellion's flamethrower, I get scared, man.
Yeah,
I shiver.
Absolutely. The Blue Flame Hellions are going to be great to reestablish map control. It's going to give Select a presence on the map. He essentially conceded all of that by losing his early push.
Right.
So it's going to be real important for him to keep those Hellions alive, not get too greedy, not try and rush up into the main unless he sees an opportunity. It's real important that you keep those Hellions alive. A lot of players will get way too greedy. They'll just bomb in there and try and get kills. They'll lose their entire
bloodthirsty, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
like, it's just Hellions! I gotta go in there and get the drones!
It's just because you know, all Terran players have been in that situation where you just roast 40 drones with 2 shots.
And all Zerg players have been in the situation where you receive the flame.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know what they're capable of. You know how much damage you can do, so you get a little trigger happy.
Right, here we go, and it looks like Select is going to be moving out here. And here's the thing that I like about ViBE. Great creep spread. This is going to help those speedlings surround the Hellions, but oh no, ViBE is losing packs of Zerglings left and right, and a huge squad of Hellions coming in here, and I think the Select here is going to be pretty trigger happy. He's going to roast several drones up. Ah, this is brutal for me as a Zerg player to watch. All the drones, they're trying to scramble and run, but there's nowhere to go.
That was a huge slip up by ViBE right there, losing all those packs of lings that he could have used to block the ramp, and he's even losing some more drones at his natural here. That is so many roasted drones. It's a friggin' drone barbecue over here, and he's down more than
pretty bad
10 drones right now. He's gonna have to drone up so hard, but the good thing is now that he's killed all those Hellions, he's in a position, he's in a position where he has map control. He's not worried about the threat of a push, and he will be able to drone up for quite some time. But you do not want to lose that many drones.
No, you don't. But the nice thing here about Zerg is there's a kind of critical number where if you lose too many, you're kind of out of the game. But if you're at 35 and you've lost about 10 and you're only 10 under the Terran, you can rebuild your drone count. You're not out of the game yet. So ViBE sacrificing about 10 drones to kill off 6 Hellions, maybe more drones, but he's certainly not out of the game yet. And here's the nice thing, he's got his infestors out. He had the upgrade for pathogen glands already, and those fungal growths are going to be absolutely key, Pain User, at dealing with the Hellions and the Marines.
Yeah, absolutely. Fungal growth is so strong now. They essentially doubled its DPS in the last
Here we
patch.
go, man. Looks like some Zerglings trying to kill SCVs, and Select here, his own buildings kind of playing against him as he tries to get his forces over there, but thankfully he has a bunker. Loses only a couple SCVs, though.
I think he could have afforded to use some of those fungals on the SCVs right there. I think he was waiting for the Marines, and he wanted to save the fungals to kill as many Marines as possible, but I mean, why not use them on SCVs? SCVs are just as important, if not more important, especially in a situation like that. So I don't necessarily agree with him saving the energy there, but it looks like SeleCT is going to try and do a little bit of a push here. No, he's just gonna kill the rocks at the gold and then establish his third. But
ViBE has other ideas here, man.
Fungal off, 2 fungals going off and killing a pack of Marines right there. Every little bit helps, but still, SeleCT is building up that siege tank count, and he is still up on harvesters. SeleCT is still up by 6 at this point. That is terrible for ViBE. Usually ViBE is up, you know, 10, 15 drones on his opponent at this point in the game, and really what ViBE's doing is he's trying to produce enough army to stay safe at the same time after losing all those drones early to those Hellions. But really, when you lose that many drones to Hellions, you need to just take a big risk. You have to play unsafe. You have to just drone up real hard and hope that he's not pushing you again.
Absolutely.
But ViBE playing it safe, went for the infestors, got the lings out, and that's kept him at an economic deficit. And as a Zerg player, that is the worst situation you can be in.
Yeah, and I guess right now, since he's kind of feeling like he's behind, he's going to try to go for what is most unexpected, which you don't expect a Nidus Worm, man. Nidus Worms are not so commonly used, and there is going to be a Nidus coming in here soon. And ViBE is actually preparing to basically throw the Nidus into the main, as can be indicated by the Overlord here, giving sight to this area. ViBE knows that he's in a little bit of trouble. He knows the Terran player has now established the staging ground, this planetary fortress at the gold. That's huge, and he needs to either grab a 4th base quickly or go in with this Nidus Worm and do some serious damage.
Yeah, I agree. He either needs to inflict some damage or he needs to double expand at this point. Dropping a fungal on the Marines and the Thors. Fungal has also had its damage increased against armored units, so it actually does more than tickle the Thors at this point. But wow, SeleCT being real bold with his armies right now, just pushing straight up and killing some creep tumors. And I think he's being a little bit too cavalier with those Thors, but we'll see how it plays out for him.
Well, I think ViBE right now is waiting for Neuroparasite to finish. It's about 4 seconds away from finishing. Those Infestors, which he saved energy on earlier, will have enough energy to mind control. And here we go. ViBE gonna go in with his Infestors, mind controlling the 2 Thors in the front, which allows the Lings free reign into the tanks. Creep spread still there to allow the Zerglings to skate right into the Marines and tanks. And ViBE's SeleCT's actually a little, like you said, cavalier push. Nice vocabulary there. Is pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, and now that was actually a huge come up for ViBE right there. He was able to kill both those Thors, several tanks, virtually lost nothing, maybe 8 to 10 links, and that's always worth it. And look at SeleCT's building placement. I love this. It's like he's playing Legos. He's just slowly segmenting off portions of the map with his Raxes, and that's just such beautiful play. And
here we go, the Nidus!
He's 100% on top of the Nidus. Pulled his SCVs instantly, able to kill that before it even gets up. So SeleCT playing a very intelligent game right now. He is in a great position right now. He's essentially 3-base to 3-base. I know ViBE just got his 4th up, but he hasn't really started to saturate it. And let's take a look at the income tab real quick. Still up by 7 on harvesters.
Absolutely.
He has been up this entire game, SCVs to harvesters, and he's got 20 on supply. Yeah.
Really, Pain User, what can ViBE do? I mean, I'm trying to think right now. ViBE is in a pretty clutch situation. It looks like he's going to come in here with a mind control and a fungal, beautifully knocking out all those Marines. Look at how much blood is seeping onto the ground floor here next to the chasm on Xel'Naga Caverns. But ViBE, I feel like he's running out of time. He just doesn't have the army units to fight off this Terran push. And this is the scary thing. Here's the staging ground, and here's where the leapfrog begins. Tanks slowly pushing up towards your gold expansion. The nightmare of the Zerg on this map. ViBE's got to hang on here, and it's just looking bleak with all these tanks here.
Yeah, really, ViBE is getting into a scrappy, a real scrappy tit-for-tat, blow-for-blow battle with the Terran, but the problem is he's down on economy. Normally, that would be great for a Zerg. You can just continually trade armies, and you can keep reproducing, but he is actually behind on economy, and he's probably a little bit behind on production. SeleCT has tons of Raxes and factories, and he's just churning out Terran units, and he has decent upgrades to back it.
Speaking of behind an economy, man, he just pulverized some drones and picked off the gold. That right there is a crucial moment in the game, and the one shining beacon of light that ViBE has is he's at Hive Tech and he has Ultralisks. So man, it's gonna take a miracle, but with these Ultras, anything is possible. He will certainly need a good surround to make something happen. He looks like he's gearing up to maybe take out the planetary, so he might go base for a base here, which I don't really agree with. That planetary is just so thick and so hard to pound down.
Yeah, and even if he does kill that planetary, he's definitely going to lose his fourth right here, and it looks like he's going to lose the fourth, but he's sending 2 Ultralisks in ahead of the pack, and then sending the rest of the pack in. He is going to go for that planetary fortress. Probably going to be able to take that down, but at what cost? He just lost his gold, and he lost his fourth, and he's about to lose his gold again. So really, Vibe is going to be on essentially no mining expansions. I mean, he still has his natural, but how many minerals are left there? Not enough. It's not going to sustain him through the rest of this game, especially since he's producing those tier 3 units. He's basically making... Ooh.
Wow. We have a ton of Zerglings Pain User. I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you there,
No,
but man,
fine.
he has a ton of Zerglings saved up in that Nidus network, which was about 5 minutes ago. And you got to wonder if he had those Zerglings out on the field, maybe he could have saved this gold hatchery.
Some of those fights in mid were real close. I think 20 Lings could have made a real big difference in a few of those early fights where he was using the Infestors to neural parasite the Thors and the tanks. If he had a pack of 20 Lings, that might have gone differently for him.
Absolutely. I mean, this is basically an invested cost into this Nidus network. Zerglings basically just chilling underground, not doing what they need to do. They're cowards, man. Someone's got to give them a dishonorable discharge, because these Zerglings, man, they should be fighting, but they're hiding like cowards. And Vibe here is actually going to engage with Ultralisk, and there's no Zerglings or Banelings here to speak of. Looks like the command center will lift off. The Ultralisk cannot afford to continue pounding into this metal line. And one thing I just want to point out, Pain User, is Vibe's lack of Banelings.
Yeah, absolutely. Vibe is not a very heavy Baneling player. He likes to go for those early Infestors, spend a lot of his gas on Infestors, continually getting upgrades, and then he likes to tech straight to the Ultras with the high upgrades. But one thing, well, first off, I don't know if Zerg units can even be cowards. They just do what they're told, right? So it's up to Vibe as the general to make something happen here. He's got to whip them into shape.
They were mind controlled by the Psi emitter. Apparently, Select's got a Psi emitter underground or something. He's controlling the Zerglings.
So yeah, he really needs to make something happen, but it's up to him at this point. He does have this small pack of Ultras, but I mean, some of them are at very low hit points, and well, Select's army is just getting huge at this point. He's got a very strong mech backbone. He's approaching 170 supply. He's also taking a 4th and 5th base. And really, he's just all over the place. He's out macroing a Zerg at this point, impressively.
Yeah, man. I mean, it goes down to the basics of StarCraft. Not only is he good at macro and micro, but he's great at building placement, and this is one of the fundamental concepts of Terran play. I mean, if a Zerg were to attack through this area, you'd be funneled through here and around here just to get to the natural. This is like an impenetrable wall.
Legos, man.
Legos, literally. And hey, we have a Nidus. I hear a Nidus somewhere. There comes the Nidus, actually hitting into this expansion, which there was no SCVs there to attack.
That's just too bad. That's the luck of the draw.
But hey, Vibe now realizes, hey, I have some Zerglings hiding underground. He's taken back control from the Psi emitter.
Yeah, finally realizing those Zerglings are in there. Tried to put them to use, but too little too late. I feel like he really needs to make something happen. The onus is on him right now, and might be able to pick off a few Thors here. Gonna go ahead and mind control those Thors. All the Ultras are coming in. He may be able to get this planetary fortress, but he's lost his entire army.
Absolutely, his entire army devastated right there by this huge depth, and this is what I was talking about. This area, this staging ground we were talking about before, is impenetrable, man. You can't break through this area, and wow, the entire Zerg army just got obliterated.
Yeah, I really feel like that was his last hope. That was his last chance to make something happen right there. Right now, he is down so far behind on the income tab. Really, it would be a miracle if he recovered from this.
Indeed, it would definitely take some kind of divine intervention, man. Vibe, he's not looking too good. We actually have a pretty large army of metal and marines moving out across the middle of the map. Hey, look at that. We got a Broodlord. Maybe that'll help, but no, not against all those Vikings. He gets absolutely decimated in the air by the Viking firepower. And I don't know, man. Switching to Broodlords here may not be the best tech choice because there's already a ton of Vikings on the field.
Yeah, Select really Johnny on the spot with his scanning. He must have seen that Greater Spire coming because he hadn't been producing Vikings up until the exact moment when the Broodlords came on the field.
Yeah.
And he already had that preemptive Viking pack of 6 Vikings.
Absolutely.
That's real impressive. I think that's that's something a lot of Terran players don't do nearly enough, and it's something I've been trying to do a lot more, is that I try to continuously, once I know they're at Hive Tech, I try and continuously scan that Spire and get a feel for when the Broodlords are going to be out, because if the Broodlords come out and you do not have Vikings and you're not fully prepared to deal with them, it's almost a guaranteed loss.
Yeah, and guaranteed loss it looks like it's going to be here for ViBE. Bravely sending some of those Zerglings over burrowed over here to pick off the planetary once again. But really, Select doesn't even need this expansion anymore. There's no minerals to mine. And Select's got 2 auxiliary bases already picking up minerals and gas for him. His Vikings here are absolutely free to roam around the skies and pick off Overlords. You can see now that ViBE is supply blocked, and he will continue to be supply blocked. And it looks like he's gearing up for one last attempt to win this game.
Yeah, ViBE is beyond supply block here. There's really no way for him to regain air superiority. All he has on the ground to deal with those Vikings is the few coins that he's already had the entire game, and they are not going to be able to cut it. And he's not going to be able to produce units for so long that really, I mean, it didn't make a difference before this, but that's just like the icing on the cake. Not being able to make any more units, but really he has no income anyway. So this is the final battle right here. This is it. The Infestors getting shredded. The Wings all getting shredded. He did manage to kill a few Thors there, though.
Not bad, but hey,
not enough.
That was the story of the day, man. I mean, I think we saw 3 attacks at this very location. They should seriously make this a holy shrine, because there's been so many people who have died at this location on Xel'Naga Caverns.
Zerg Mecca.
The Mecca of Zerg. Everyone needs to turn over to the west and just pray. Yeah, man. Select taking this game with just brute force and good start.